What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost. Today I want to talk to you about a new series that I'm starting on this channel. I want to do about every week, put out a video about this topic, and it's based off one of what I feel is the more interesting eras in the Star Wars expanded universe, and that's the Legacy era, specifically when we're talking about the Legacy comics. Now, when I talk about the Legacy era, that does technically include some novels that take place around 37 to 45 years after the Battle of Yavin. Specifically, I want to focus on the comic series. So the series takes place about 137 years after the Battle of Yavin, or Episode 4. Now, that leaves about 100 years of timeline in the Star Wars Expanded Universe that we don't know anything about. What I wanted to focus on was why so many of us are clamoring for more expanded universe stories. So we can kind of bridge that gap, right? Bridge this gap from what we see happen at the end of Fate of the Jedi and Crucible to what we know happens in the Legacy era. And I just wanted to start off today by kind of giving you a sneak peek into that era if you're not familiar with it or kind of been wondering about, what it is. What is the Legacy era? What is this comic book that people keep talking about? And it was a really unique endeavor for Star Wars. Although we had seen a lot of times we go into the past and look at things that happened in the past, we'd never done this big of a jump into the future with the intention to tell stories in between. For a long time, there were little offshoots here and there, but for the most part, ever since 2000, the stories were pretty linear as far as, they went New Jedi Order, then, Dark Nest Crisis, or Swarm Wars, and then Legacy of the Force, and then Fate of the Jedi. And there were a couple little one-off books here and there, but this was going to be a whole series that takes place 100 years after all that stuff. So Star Wars fans were they were sure about that. They didn't maybe like the sound of it, but, John Ostrander and Jan Duursema, who were basically the lead people in this at Dark Horse, who have been the lead people in this in a lot of Dark Horse. John Ostrander was the writer for this, and Jan Duursema is one of the artists along with plotting the storyline. And they created this really fascinating story, and it ended up being the most well-received of all Expanded Universe stories in history, really. It's definitely in my top 10 when you talk about, just total combined stories. And obviously, over 50 comic books is tough to just say, well, that's one story. But as far as, storylines, it's definitely in my top 10. And the things going on in the galaxy at the time, we do have an Imperial Remnant Empire. It's now known as the Fel Empire. Now, the Fel Empire is ruled by descendants of Jaina Solo and Jagged Fel, who do get married at the end of Fate of the Jedi. And I've done something on Jaina Solo before. You can check that out on geeksandgamers.com. But, two really well-loved characters. Their descendants go on to create the Fel Empire, whereas the New Republic, which evolved into the Galactic Alliance, is now essentially called the Galactic Alliance of Free Federations, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, sorry. Galactic Federation of Free Alliances. That's what it is. So close. So that's basically what serves as the New Republic in this story. And through some weird things, Yuzong Vong were terraforming worlds, and something was sabotaged. One group blamed the other, and eventually they went to war. But in reality, it was a secret group of Sith, the One Sith, led by Darth Krayt, who is definitely one of the most unique and interesting villains that I've ever seen in Star Wars, especially for a Sith. Sometimes Star Wars can fall in the trap of Sith being a little too one-dimensional. Darth Krayt's definitely not that. He has a very interesting mindset and theory and power and skills and everything like that. Darth Krayt is incredible. It's one of the people I can't wait to get into in this series. But they set this up, and the Sith Empire essentially takes over what was part of the Fel Empire. So Fel does escape, and they have kind of a warring battle going on, but it's kind of a three-pronged battle in the galaxy between this Galactic Federation of Free Alliances, the Fel Empire, and the Sith Empire, the One Sith Empire. And in this, the Jedi do get almost wiped from existence again. Nearly, 150 years after it happened, with Anakin Skywalker and Palpatine leading the way, it happens again in this, in this galaxy at this time. And Cade Skywalker, who is obviously a descendant of Luke Skywalker, I'm not quite sure. I don't think they've ever verified how many greats it is. I think it's his great-great-grandson. But Cade Skywalker watches his father, Cole, one of the leaders of the Jedi Order, get killed. And get killed defending the Jedi Temple as all of the Jedi are dying. And Cade is able to escape, kind of go underground again during this Jedi Purge, and survive. But he stops being a Jedi, for lack of a better term. He's a really interesting character because he is an a-hole. He's an a-hole. He's not the best dude. He's a drug addict. He doesn't care about the Jedi. He's seen what it did to his family. He doesn't want anything to do with the Jedi anymore. So it's very strange for a Skywalker to behave like that. At least a Skywalker in the real Star Wars universe that so many of us are used to in the expanded universe. That doesn't happen. Skywalkers don't do that. But there are many great characters in the Fel Empire. They've established their own kind of Force user order, the Imperial Knights, which are very interesting in their own right. You have the One Sith, which are full of characters like Darth Talon, who I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this will want to see more of, at least, even if you don't want to know more about her. And then you also have what's going on with the Galactic Federation of Free Alliances and their leadership, and then Cade, trying to be the one to keep the spark of the Jedi alive in the galaxy. So that's a little bit of what you can expect in the next coming weeks. Like I said, I want to try to do one every week. I don't know if I'll quite be able to do it. Just kind of depends on my schedule at the time. A little lore video on certain characters so you can kind of get to know them and get to know why that, if you're a reader of the Star Wars Expanded Universe, that people wanted to know so much more and the connecting dots. What happened in this 100-year gap? How did we get from here to here? Like we can see where it starts and where it ends, but there's so much in the middle that's ready to be explored that we hope Lucasfilm will give us more Expanded Universe stories so we can read them and learn and understand how our characters happened. But what do you guys think? I hope you're looking forward to this series. Hope it interests you. You're going to see a lot of cool art along the way that I edit in. The Dark Horse run is fantastic. I would recommend it if you're interested in comic books and you're interested in Star Wars, that you check it out because it really is worth it. But let me know what you think. Make sure you're subscribed, smash the like button, ring the bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone, and a special thank you to all my incredible patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to check me out on Twitter or Instagram, or send something to my P.O. box? All the links are in the description. Until next time, I'll talk to you guys later.